Hi, my name is Anna Trong with Henrico County's Recreation and Parks Department. I want to thank you for joining me today on our meditation chain activity. This is one that I'm really excited about and I think will help us all out in our quest to be a better person, to find a little more of that wellness inside, something that we all need at this time. So to start with, I'm going to go over the supplies that you'll need to make a meditation chain, or otherwise known as a mala. So if I say mala, that's what I'm referring to. You got the same thing, two different names. So with our supplies, what you're going to need is string and or embroidery thread, and this is going to offer for a couple of different parts of the meditation chain. You're going to need a needle, a beading needle, or thin wire. You need beads. You need several different kinds of beads, but you specifically need some round and smooth beads. And any size is okay as long as you can get your thread or your string through it. You need one guru bead. We'll talk about what that is later. You need scissors. You'll need a charm, which is optional, and a towel. So as I use these supplies, I'll talk about them and tell you what they're good for. So first of all, I'm going to say you need a towel. And what that's going to do is just give you a surface so when you're using your beads, they're not rolling around. You can use a bead board if you'd like. And I found that sometimes beads roll a little bit more on that than even a towel. So a towel works nicely. You're just going to lay that out as your surface. And then beads. The kind of beads that you use can vary. But you want round, smooth beads because your hands are going to be flowing over them, so you want an easy flow with your beads. Now, as far as the number of beads, there's different numbers for the different types of beads. You need 108 smooth, round beads. There's a significance to this number, and the significance is a very spiritual number with 108. There are 108 letters in the Sanskrit alphabet, which is one reason. The sun's diameter is said to be 108 times larger than the diameter of the earth. The distance between the sun and the earth to be 108 times the sun's diameter. There are 108 sacred holy sites in India. There are 108 marma, or acupressure-like points in the body. And that's kind of what we're reflecting on, is our energy and our inner self and those points that we want to bring forward. So that 108 is a very significant number. Now, you don't necessarily need 108 beads. That's to make a long mala or a necklace-size mala. If you want to make a mini mala or a shortened bracelet or something like that, you want to use a fraction of 108, an even fraction. So 18 or 27, that's the number of beads that you're going to use to make your mala. And in between, to break up those fractions, you might want to have spacer beads. And spacer beads can be anything. They don't have to be round and smooth. And actually, you want them to be a little different than the beads that you're using to make your mala. Because what they do is, as you're gliding your fingers over the beads, using your mantra, repeating your mantra. When you come to those spacer beads, it's a time to stop, reflect as to the reason that you're actually there at that moment. It's just a little time to remind yourself why you are doing these affirmations. So that's what spacer beads are good for. And you're going to space your affirmation beads out equidistant. So that's what those spacer beads are for again. You need one guru bead, and this can be anything, any other type of bead as well. It can also be one of something similar to your spacer bead. But a guru bead is a single bead that divides all of your mala beads. It sets itself aside. It's a separate entity. It's there to remind you of the teachings that you are receiving at the time. So your guru bead can be anything that you feel you're gaining from. So we've got all our beads here. Your thread. I mentioned embroidery thread. Nylon thread, cotton thread, embroidery thread is a good one. This is good for your longer malas or meditation chain because it doesn't stretch, but you don't need to worry about that. Another type of thread is a bead and stretch clear thread that really stretches. It's like a nylon thread. This is good for smaller or mini malas. If you want to wear it as a bracelet, you need it to fit over your hand. That's good for that. The tricky part with this is tying the knot. That's the tricky part, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. Your embroidery thread is also good for making tassels. So you've got a twofer there if you want to use it to make your necklace, your chain, and to make a tassel. Works great. So let's see. Also, your thin wire or beading needle. This is something that needs to be able to slide through your beads, to be able to fit through the hole. A thin wire I find works great, and any really thin wire is fine. You're just going to cut a section of it and fold it over so it has a crimp to it. And if you can see that, that's great, but I'll show you a little bit. Really, you don't need a hole, you just need that bend. You're going to take your thread and pull it through the bend there, if I can get it through, and wrap it. So there's your beading needle as it is. And it should, if you're holding the intersection there in a way that you can pinch your wire together, it should just go straight through and it's an easy slide through your bead. So I find this works really well when beading just about anything. It's very comfortable. All right, a charm. We talked about a charm. So this is going to be towards the end of your mala, something to add, something just maybe a little reminder of something that makes you feel good. And a tassel is also some decoration to add to that. All right, I am going to start with making a mini mala today so that you can kind of see how it's done and how it all goes together, and then you can make your own. All right, I'm going to use the nylon thread that's really stretchy. If I'm holding it here, you can see it has a good bit of stretch to it. And I'm going, because it's stiff enough as it is, I really don't even need my wire. It should go through just fine. So I've got my 27 beads lined up. Let's see, it looks like I'm missing one here. I got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. I need another bead. So I have my beads off to the side. Sorry for getting out of the way there. I need some more beads. All right, and I lost my big beads. There they are. And again, you want to count them out. So again, I'm going to recount to double check. 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And you know what I'm counting? I'm going to include my spacer beads as part of my mantra. So I think that's where my numbers are coming in. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. So now I have 27 beads. All right. And as I repeat my mantra or affirmation, this is something that you want to remind yourself of who you are or what you hope to be, which you probably are to begin with. You just need that little reminder. So as we're counting, we're going to say those affirmations, and I'm just going to try to put them on quickly so that you can see how it all goes together. 4, 5, 6. Whoops. And you can see that towel really works well to hold my beads so they don't roll off onto the floor or that I lose them. Got my spacer bead, a little thought there. I've chosen these types of beads and these colors for a reason. Wooden beads are very common practice amongst those that are meditating on a regular basis, especially rosewood has a particular energy, meditative quality about it. So rosewood is very common. I have just regular wooden beads, something that I just was attracted to, so I just chose to use them specifically. And the colors that I've chosen as well are green, because green reflects nature, and that is something that I've just really been in tune with lately. I've really enjoyed being out in nature. It helps to kind of clear my head and just put me more at ease and find a place that I can be comfortable and calm with. So that's kind of why I've chosen these colors and these spacers to go with it. So, let's see. What do I have? Okay. Now, 21 is also a good number. That's a sacred number as well. So if that's what you want to use, so I have the 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 21 wooden beads. Then I have my 3 spacer beads that you typically aren't using in your affirmations, but I've included them in the number. So your 21 and the 3 equals my 27. Now to tie these can be tricky. Again, with this stretchy bead, you want to stretch it to just get it in place, because eventually if you stretch it on your wrist, then it might get stretched out a little more and it might fall off easy. So if you just stretch it to start with, that can get you a good start. Now there's a specific number of knots that you're going to tie to go with your meditation chain or your mala. 3 knots before your guru bead, and these reflect our oneness. And I'm going to pull it somewhat tight, but I've got to be careful not to pull it too tight, because then all the beads will kind of kink up. And I'm going to tie it again for the giving side of our body, the female side or the moon side. And this is where you've got to kind of hold it, pull it together, and give it a tug. So I don't know if you can see. If I pull it real tight, they're going to tighten up and give me a good knot, but also not so tight that it won't fit. All right, there we go. And then another knot, 3 knots. This one is for the sun side or the receiving side or the male side of our body. So I'm giving them a good tug. So I've got my 3 knots there. Then we're going to add our guru knot. Now this brings it all together. So by sliding the bead onto both threads, that connects everything at once. See if I can find that little hole there. There it is. And again, this thread is easy to use because it's stiff, so it goes through without any problems. If I say that, I might jinx it. And I've got my guru bead, and that's where I'm going to start my meditation and end it. I'll never cross it. If I get to the end and I feel that I need to continue my meditation, I'm going to reverse it and go backwards this way, but never cross over the guru knot. That's where your teaching is coming from. So I've got my meditation, got my guru knot, and now I'm going to put my charm on. To connect that, again, connecting the earth. I'm going to tie this 4 times. Now this is for our oneness and our wholeness, for the earth energy, again, nature, and then again for our sun energy, the giving, and the moon energy, receiving. So I've got my 4 knots there. I'm going to have to pull them tight because, again, this thread doesn't tie up so easily. Now with this one, I want to add a tassel. And this might be the hardest part of the whole process. So this is where I'm going to take my embroidery thread. Again, I've chosen green because I like greens. Green's my favorite color anyway, so that makes it easy. And I'm going to cut about 10 inches of thread. I'm going to put that aside. I'm going to use that for the tying of it. So I've got my embroidery thread, and this is where maybe I need to do some more work on my meditation and detangle myself a little bit. Again, significance in the wrapping of the tassel, that number 108, we're not going to wrap 108 times, but we will wrap. We'll try with 18 and see if that feels right. And if it's not as thick as we want it to be, maybe we'll go to 27. But I think 18 is going to do it, and I'm going to try and make a small tassel. So we'll see. I'm going to wrap it around my finger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So there's 18. And I think that'll be enough because it's going to be a small tassel. It's not going to be very large. I'm going to snip that end. And I'm going to wrap my thread through to catch it. And again, we're going to tie those significant numbers, 3 knots. Oneness for the sun and the moon. And this being clear thread, it'll hide pretty well too, so you won't see that. So now I've got part of my tassel here. I'm going to pull it so that all the threads kind of come together. And this is where I bring in my extra piece. I'm going to hold them. And sometimes this might be handy if you have another person to help you a little bit, just to be a second pair of hands. But I'm going to capture the tag and leave a little bit hanging because you're going to use that to tie with later. So I'm going to capture that thread, hold it all in place, and I'm going to wrap around my tassel 5 times for the sun, the earth, the air, water, and fire. So I've got my end there. I'm going to take my other end and I'm going to tie these. Again, 3 knots. 1, tie tight. 2, 3. And if you'd like, you can kind of divide your threads and pull your knot through to the center, and it'll tuck down in there pretty well. Now we've got our loops on our ends, so this is where I'm going to trim my nylon thread because that's not necessarily part of it. I'm going to trim that off. But I need to cut through the darkness. So I'm going to cut those loops and cut through the darkness. Now I've got some uneven ends, so I need to work that out a little bit. And I'm going to cut all that negative energy off and straighten it up a little bit. Cut all the negative energy off. And cut it. There you go. So we've removed all the negative energy, and we now have our mini mala, or meditation bead. Now I'm going to take you through some of the affirmations that you can use on this mini mala or meditation chain. As we spoke about earlier, the colors of beads and whatnot, well, there are chakras involved in our energy. And I'm going to show you a slide that reflects some of these chakras. This is the energy within your body, and you can feel it either good or maybe bad, and that might be an aspect of the types of beads that you want to look at to use for your meditation chain or your mini mala. And it's kind of easy to remember. You've got the rainbow colors, but if you're having trouble, you've got to remember red starts at the bottom, or the root chakra, and it works its way up to the crown chakra. And there are colorful beads that reflect certain energies that help you to maybe restore certain energy within your body. So if you want to look at those particular type of beads, if you're having a problem with a certain energy in your body or a field, go ahead and find beads that will help energize that. And a lot of times you can tell by what your ailment, like your throat chakra, you might have a sore throat that day, or your crown chakra, you might have a headache. So you can, if you consistently have those issues, think about using some beads that will help you energize that area of your body. Now, as far as starting the affirmations and really energizing your own mala, as I said, when you're stringing it, you want to continue to reaffirm whatever your mantra is. And a mantra is something, again, just reflective of who you are, who you want to be, how you want to energize yourself. And you can pick anything that might help you. And as for, we'll say for children, if you want to establish a routine, maybe there's a certain aspect of their confidence that they need to work on, you can create a mantra that just reminds them, I am brave, I am smart, I am strong, I am worthy. So for each time that you're flowing your fingers and feeling each bead, you are repeating that mantra. I am strong, I am brave, I am worthy, I am enough. So for children, it's easy to keep it simple. And this is a mala that I made with lots of colors. You've got the chakra colors included. But these are just simple pony beads. They're smooth, so your fingers roll over them nicely. And that could be something a children could make. And as far as their affirmations go, we're filming right now at a time when school is about to begin in a new and different way. So maybe our students need to think of something that's going to help get them through this new school year. You can keep it very simple. Like I said, I like myself. I am going to do my best. My best is enough. I can focus. I can pay attention. I will respect my teacher. Those are very simple. Even a grateful affirmation for things that you might be grateful for, you want to remind yourself. For children, again, simple. I'm grateful for food. I'm grateful for the sky. I'm grateful for trees that birds can sit in. I'm grateful for the grass that I can feel tickle my toes. So you can keep it very simple. And for adults, it can be just as simple as well. So you can find that one thing that you want to focus on, that you want to remind yourself who you are and what you want to be, and know that you are, and just work your way through it. And I hope you've enjoyed learning how to make your own mini mala and give yourself some good meditation time to reflect on that. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you have a good evening.